Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cohen back here again today with another video. This is not a recap of all the games tonight. I don't have time for that. I'm really swamped with schoolwork. I'm in college, if you did not know. So I'm only focusing on one game today. Specifically, I want to talk about one player. If you can't tell by the Dort jersey in the title of the video and the thumbnail of the video, we're talking about Lou Dort, baby. Dort is incredible. He just had the best game of his career. I guess you could kind of weigh it. Or best individual game of his career, I guess you could say, because you could also talk about his Game 7 performance against Houston, where he had 30 points and almost led us offensively to a win over the Rockets in Game 7 last year. But individually, statistically, this was his best game of his entire career, especially in the regular season. 42 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, 16 of 31 shooting. So that's over 50%, 7 of 11 from 3. Probably the only blemish on his entire stat line was his 3 of 7 shooting from the free throw line. He could have ended up with 46, almost 50 if he had just hit those free throws, but incredible stat line from Dort. Unbelievable. Not to mention that he played really great defense on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell played pretty solidly tonight, but Dort held him to under 50% shooting. Dort had a hard time sometimes getting over some of the screens that like Rudy Gobert and guys would set, but Dort did a fantastic job of keeping up with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell hit a couple really tough shots over Dort, but most of the time he was forcing Mitchell to pass out. Most of Mitchell's offense came while Dort was off the court, and this was an incredible effort from him. The Thunder, as a team, only scored 96 points. Dort scored 42. If it wasn't for Luguentz Dort, we probably would have lost by like 50 tonight, and we kept it close. We were down by like 11 with like a minute and a half left, and the Jazz were just too much for us to handle at the end there. But Dort kept us in the game the entire time. He started the game 4-4 from 3, hitting all 4 of those in the first quarter, 18 points in that first quarter. It's just an unbelievable stat line. This was his best game. He continues to show improvement, and his improvement from last season to this season, if you watch him, is unbelievable. I can't remember a player that has improved like Dort has. He would be in most improved player conversations if his numbers were just a little bit better. He started the season really hot, and then he kind of just trailed off a little bit, and he's missed a bunch of time with some things here and there. So ultimately, I don't think he is going to end up being in that conversation, but he does deserve some consideration for the award. Just the way he stepped up, it's mainly been offensively as well as defensively. Dort last season was considered by some people the worst offensive player in the NBA. There were people tweeting me that during the Rocket series, throughout the regular season, they were like, yo, Dort sucks on offense. There was one game in the Rocket series where I think he shot like 0 of 8 or like 2, like it was like 2 for 10. He missed a bunch of shots and he played really poorly offensively. And there was this tweet that was like, Luguentz Dort tonight, here's his stat line. Is he the worst offensive player in the NBA? Dort then, game 7, comes out, hits all these threes, scores 30 points, almost leads us to a win over the James Harden-led Houston Rockets in that first round. Dort continues to prove people wrong, and the way that he has developed so quickly, he was undrafted. He was an undrafted rookie last season, and he, from the start of the season, started as a two-way player, earned a multiple-year contract, ended up being the hero in Game 7, becoming known as the Harden stopper, playing incredible defense on James Harden, one of the best offensive players, if not the best offensive player in the NBA today, not even mentioning the history of the NBA, one of the greatest of all time to ever play on the offensive side of the ball, and he was known as the stopper. Now, did we win the series? No, we didn't. They were the better team, but the fact that Dort earned that reputation just shows how well he played defensively in that series, because it's almost impossible to stop James Harden. It's very difficult. And yet when Dort was on him, it felt possible. And then coming into this season, he had this reputation. He's a Harden stopper, and he's transformed him from a Harden stopper to a legitimate all defensive caliber player. If Lou Dort does not make an all defensive team, I'm going to be pissed, because Lou Dort does everything. There was this graph earlier that I saw on Twitter that shows the percentage of time that a player guards the opposing team's first or second best option, and Lou Dort was miles ahead of everyone else in terms of how often he guards the opposing team's best or second best player. The only time he doesn't is when it's like a big man or someone like Giannis or Durant or something like that. That's the only time that Harden doesn't guard the opposing team's best player. If it's a guard, if it's a forward, it's going to be Dort on them. And he does it every single night, and he goes out and locks people up every single night. He's had some incredible defensive sequences. He played great defense on Damian Lillard. He played solid defense on Donovan Mitchell tonight. He's had great games all season. And the fact that he's doing all of that while constantly being the guy that we go to, he is our defensive anchor at the guard spot. Either playing the 2 or the 3, Luguentz Dort is going to do his best to lock up your player. And a lot of nights he's going to succeed on that. Are there some nights where guys get the best of him? Yeah, it's the NBA. Good offense beats great defense all the time. But Dort makes it possible to stop anyone at any given night. And the fact that he has gone from the hardened stopper to a legitimate all-defensive player in the course of one season is unreal, is unbelievable. Or actually even just the course of over one offseason, because he entered this season playing like that, and he's done it all year. Not even to mention his offensive development. He is actually a good offensive player now. Is he inconsistent? Yes, he's very young and he's still finding his consistency. But it's very rare that you find a player this young that not only plays all defensive level defense, but has the ability to go off for 42 points with 7 threes, not just like once, but multiple occasions. There have been multiple times this season where Dort hasn't quite put up this production, but he's had great production. He started the season shooting like 40% from three, and while that has trailed off significantly, he's shown the potential to be able to sustain stretches like that. And if you have a player that's able to sustain that offensive production over a decent stretch while playing that defense, that's an incredible two-way talent that you have on your hands. And he was undrafted. He had like half a season in the NBA last year, and this is his first full season as an NBA player, and he's already doing this type of stuff. And that really brings us to the question of, what is Lu Dort's ceiling? And I don't want to use a cop-out here, but I don't know. If one of y'all wants to tell me what you think Lu Dort's ceiling is, please in the comments right now below, go tell me what you think Luguentz Dort's ceiling is, because it's impossible to tell from me. Because every time I feel like I have him pegged and I think I know exactly what we're going to get with Luguentz Dort, he does something better, he does something bigger, he improves, and he continues to do that, whether he's improving his three-point shooting, which he has done tremendously, whether he's improving his defense, which he has also done very well, whether he's improving his driving, he's done well. Really just the main hole in his game right now is finishing at the rim. If Dort is able to become a better finisher at the rim, he's one of the best two-way players in the NBA, alongside finding a little bit of that offensive consistency, which he struggles with sometimes, but he's unreal. And I'm super excited to continue watching him grow. And if I had to give him a ceiling right now, I think maybe it's like a Drew Holiday type. Now, this is like ceiling. I'm not saying that Dort is going to become as good as Drew Holiday, but I do think he has that potential. I do think he has the potential to be a massive two-way threat, if not one of the best two-way threats in the entire NBA, and potentially win a Defensive Player of the Year at some point. I know that's really difficult for guards, but if you watch the way that Dort plays and anchors our defense, it's incredible. Almost every team has a defensive anchor that's a center. For us, it is our guard that's built like a train, Luguentz Dort, going out and locking up the opposing team's best player every single night. He plays with such high energy. He draws an unreal number of offensive fouls. I think he has like 43 or 44 drawn offensive fouls on the season. That's insane. He had like 4 tonight. I think he had 3 offensive fouls drawn on the Jazz tonight, which is a ton in a game. You don't see that very often. He gets in the way and gets charges. He's so tough around screens that opposing teams' screeners are forced to shove him to prevent him from getting to the ball handler. They have to knock him out of the way, or Dort's going to get there and contest the shot or take the ball away. He's so good in the passing lanes and so good at anticipating. He makes you alter your shot. I just can't rave enough about Luguentz Dort. The talent that Sam Presti was able to find in the draft with Luguentz Dort was unreal. And I want to take some credit because before the draft, one of my friends, Caleb, if I asked him, he would tell you that him and I were super high on Dort going into the draft. Not even like after the draft when he was an undrafted free agent. Going into the draft, we were massive fans of Luguentz Dort because we saw his potential on both sides of the ball. And I was like, I would love to see the Thunder pick up Luguentz Dort. And when we didn't take him, I was like, damn, I guess we're not getting him. And when he went undrafted, I was like, oh my God, there's a possibility here. And when we signed him, ecstatic, like over the moon. Just, I can't stop raving about him. And I know I talk about the Thunder a lot on here. I'm a Thunder fan, so it makes sense. I know I talk about the Thunder a lot on my Twitter account at 3_Cohen. I've tweeted like pretty much 12 times tonight about Luguentz Dort, but I just can't help it. To see a guy go undrafted and prove everyone wrong. Anytime someone says something about Luguentz Dort, he proves them wrong. Worst offensive player in the league. Develops a consistent three-point shot. He's not that great of defense. People discrediting him in the Rockets series saying, oh, he didn't lock Harden up. Harden just struggled. Continues to lock up stars all this season. Continues to play great defense on Harden throughout that series. He can't. People said, oh, he's not that valuable of a piece for the future. He's our potential defensive anchor for the rest of this team's run as currently constructed. He can legitimately be our 3rd or 4th best guy on a championship team, I feel like. He's probably going to be our best defensive player for the rest of his time in OKC, which I hope is forever. I want Dort to stay in Oklahoma City forever. All this to say, I don't know what Lu Dort's ceiling is because he's going to prove me wrong. No matter what I say in this video, I'm fairly confident that Luguentz Dort is going to prove me wrong. If I say anything lower than like an all-star caliber player, he might prove me wrong. Will he ever reach an all-star? Maybe not. It's very possible he won't. He has to develop a lot more offensive consistency. He has to continue to be a great defensive player. It's just a matter of if that offense can get there. But will he make all defensive teams? Yes. Should he make one this season? Yeah. Could he win a defensive player of the year? Hell yeah. I definitely think he could. And if that's someone that we got as an undrafted player, especially at this young age, I believe he's 22 years old. He might be 21. 22 or 21. I always mix that up. But he's so young and he's already so good. In less than a full season in the NBA, Lu Dort's awesome. I love Lu Dort. And I love how much Twitter loves Lu Dort because it's way more fun to root for a player when the rest of NBA Twitter is like, hell yeah, that guy rocks alongside of you. I don't think there's anyone who hates Lu Dort. People probably hate the Lu Dort memes, which I also don't get because I think they're hilarious. But I think it's impossible to hate Luguentz Dort. And I'm so excited to see where his future goes and how he continues to play as part of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm super happy that we have him on our team. I'm sorry to the rest of you that don't get to root for Luguentz Dort every night watching your favorite team. But hey, if you want to come be a Thunder fan or just root for the Thunder, that's also welcome. So let me know what you think Lu Dort's ceiling is. Let me know if you think that he's going to be a super important part to this Thunder team's future. I personally think he is. And yeah, so with that, I will see you guys later. Real and say it back. If you made it to this far in the video, drop in the comments below that Luguentz Dort is a future defensive player of the year. Let's do that. I'll see you guys later.